What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dylan, and I'm here to make my preview video for the Miami Dolphins versus Kansas City Chiefs at Hard Rock Stadium tomorrow. Before I get into that, though, I do want to let you guys know that unfortunately I have a little bit of a scheduling conflict. That means simply that I will not be able to do a live stream for the game because I have something else to do at that time. So yeah, I'm sorry about that, unfortunately, and I know I missed last week just because I accidentally slept through the game, and then the week before because I just didn't have any way to watch it. So failing on my part, I'm sorry about that. I apologize. I do intend to get a live stream going for the following game, which I believe is the Patriots. I think we play the Patriots after the Chiefs, then the Raiders, then the Bills. Again, sorry, but that's how it is. Just wanted to let you guys know about that. I do intend to do one for the very next game, but I also will I will make sure that I get you guys the post-game video on Monday with my analysis of the game. So let's get into this. The first thing I want to talk about is the injury report, and there was an update today, which is not good for the Dolphins. It was bad news for the Dolphins, but let's get into the injury report as of yesterday. So today is Saturday. This is the final Dolphins-Chiefs injury report from Friday. So that's when they put out their final injury report. The Miami Dolphins definitely will be without two offensive players when they face the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday, but they're now more hopeful about the availability of two starting linebackers. Kyle Van Noy, hip, and Elandon Roberts, chest, both are both returned to practice Friday, albeit on a limited basis, and were listed as questionable for the game against the Chiefs. So it is obviously concerning that and we know that Elandon Roberts got hurt in the last game. It is concerning that they, missed some time, were limited at the end of the practice week, and are questionable, but generally questionable is, a go. It can swing to, not playing, but generally questionable means the player is going to go. Doubtful means they're most likely not going to go, and then out, obviously, is they are out. Losing Van Noy obviously would be more damaging for the Dolphins, even though Roberts has made a lot of plays against the run because he does so many different things for the defense. I mean, either of those are going to be big hurts. On offense, the Dolphins will be without guard Ereck Flowers, which is going to be huge. Look, to be clear, this Dolphins offensive line, they're really not anything special. They've had their moments, but they've also had some pretty bad ones, right? Not just with things like penalties, but with letting up. I mean, Tua got sacked 6 times in that one game. And they are, experiencing injuries, right? So the Dolphins are going to be without him. That's going to be really big for this Dolphins offense, who left the game against the Cincinnati Bengals in the first quarter because of an ankle injury and did not return. The expectation is that the Dolphins will stick with the same offensive line that finished off the Cincy game after Flowers left. Austin Jackson, at left tackle, Kinley at left guard, Ted Karras at center, Jesse Davis at right guard, and Robert Hunt at right tackle. Head coach Brian Flores explained Friday that Kinley's experience at left guard during his time at the University of Georgia was a factor in putting him there. Lovely. That offensive line has left a lot to be desired. Our run game typically this season has not been very good overall. Their pass protection obviously has left a lot to be desired. So, they're not particularly high scoring, this offense, blah, 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 right? So there are many data points that you can look at and be like, they have a lot of room to grow. So the fact that they're missing guys, and having guys being banged up is very concerning. Running back Salvon Ahmed will miss a 3rd consecutive game because of a shoulder injury, but the Dolphins will welcome back DeAndre Washington in time for him to face the team from which the Dolphins acquired him via trade November 3rd, the Chiefs. There is an additional problem which is not mentioned in this, and that is that Myles Gaskin was just today put on the COVID list. So there's no way he's going to be able to play for the game. I mean, if they did play him, it would be absolutely ridiculous. Just, I mean, you know, there's a couple perspectives. One, from the Dolphins' chances to win the game, obviously you would want Gaskin in there. But just based off of the protocols and their rules and their regulations, he's supposed to be out for 5 days indefinitely. So he just got put on today. It would be impossible for him to make the game. So if they played him, it would be pretty shady. But the expectation is that with him now on the COVID list and being put on the COVID list literally a day before the game, in fact less than 24 hours before the game, he is not going to be there. So obviously that really hurts. So like we're going to have DeAndre Washington, Patrick Laird, and then like Lynn Bowden and fucking Malcolm Perry. Our running game is probably gonna have a very difficult time performing tomorrow, which is going to be very concerning for the offense. Anyway, let's continue on, though, and finish this injury report before I get into that. The 10 players who were limited during the first 2 practices of the week were all full participants Friday and received no game status designation, meaning they will be available. But it is worthy of keeping, in mind, worthy noting that the Dolphins do have 10 players that are nursing injuries, including their quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, with his thumb, and presumably, the ankle as well, just simply because, those kinds of things as they go on throughout, because you never really, I don't know. I guess that this season is a little different, though, since they're not doing nearly as much, I don't know, dude. Like, it's so hard to evaluate. Anyway, whatever. I was just going to say that, because he's got to practice and stuff on it, so there's always going to be a little bit of something. I mean, it could be, super minor, and it could be at, 99%. But these guys, when they sustain injuries in the middle of a season, it's pretty uncommon that they actually get that injury to a full 100%. Because there's always going to be some sort of soreness or something. It really does depend on the injury and so on and so forth. Anyway, whatever. That's really irrelevant. Point is Tua is on that list. And honestly, though, well, I don't know. An ankle injury certainly is concerning, especially with a guy who has had surgery on both of his ankles. But the thumb injury is concerning because that's his throwing hand. So we'll see how that plays out. He did play last game. The results were meh at best, so we'll see how that plays out. I think he's going to have a really tough time against this Chiefs defense, especially considering he's going to have almost no run game. And, his offensive line is banged up and having their struggles, and et cetera, et cetera. So, anyway, cornerback Xavier Howard with a shoulder injury, he is on that list. The Chiefs' final injury report included a potentially significant development, and it involves 2019 All-Pro safety Tyrann Mathieu. Mathieu sustained a hamstring injury in practice and was listed as questionable. He leads the Chiefs in 5 interceptions, including 2 in the 22-16 victory against the Broncos on Sunday night. His loss would be a big blow for the Kansas City secondary. The only other Chiefs player with a game status designation is linebacker Damian Wilson, who was ruled out because of a knee injury. Wilson did not practice all week. Wide receiver Tyreek Hill did not get a game status designation after practicing the past 2 days. This after he sat out Wednesday because of illness. So, okay, now let's actually real quick get to my analysis of, this matchup. So, look, I got to keep it honest with you guys. I got to keep it real because that's what I do. I don't think this Dolphins team matches up very well, really almost at all. Because, so, the Dolphins offense, let's start there. Let's start with the Dolphins offense. The Dolphins defense, the Chiefs defense, they're not the best of the best. They have a good defense. They have some good players. If they didn't have Mathau, that would be a big deal and definitely a potential vulnerability that they could exploit. If I'm being honest, I think that I would rather have Ryan Fitzpatrick in for that, though, because he's better at reading defenses. He knows the offense better. And frankly, I think he's probably even still at this point has a better chemistry with the receivers. So if again, I never wanted to really put Tua in to begin with, but I would rather have Ryan Fitzpatrick for that. Now, but the thing is, though, the Dolphins probably are not going to be able to run the ball very well. Their offensive line is super banged up. Eric Flowers is not going to be in this game, right? Their wide receivers, are getting banged up too, but also, if you're keeping it real, they're really nothing all that special. At least not based off of how they've been performing. Like, Parker's had one or two really good games. Gesicki had that one really good game. Last game he had a solid game too. But I was talking about the one where he had like 150 yards or something like that and a touchdown. So they've had, and frankly, that's all you've seen from this Dolphins team is flashes. Same thing with the defense, if I'm keeping it honest, because the defense has had some really poor performances, particularly earlier on in the season, and then they've just had some okay performances. It is also true, though, that because of the way the rest of the league has shaped up and so on and so forth, the Dolphins are one of the top scoring defenses and better on third downs than at least half the league, right? So there are some good points and some good things to look at, but they're not particularly great in the run. They have had some struggles in pass defense and coverage, especially against teams that actually do have good offenses, right? So and this Chiefs offense is super high powered. So look, I don't think the Dolphins really match up against this team very well, almost at all. There will be some possibilities, but look, if they want to win this game, they absolutely, unquestionably have to play the best game that they have played across the board. Offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, they have to play near perfect, because anything less than that is not going to beat this Kansas City team. It's just not. So, and certainly with the kind of points that they've been putting up, generally speaking, is not going to cut it. The performances from Tua is not going to cut it, right? They need to, out of their defense, they got to have, they got to have the kind of performance where they, I mean, they're going to have to keep it low scoring. They're going to have to fucking, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be super tough. I don't know. Look, I try to appease people that are like, you're just negative. But it's hard to, because what is there really to say if it would just be lies, because the only way to not be negative would to be like, oh dude, the Dolphins are gonna fucking run all over the Chiefs, and fucking the Dolphins defense is super elite and they're gonna shut down that wickedly powerful Chiefs offense. I mean, it's just not realistic. Is there some probability of it? Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is concerning that, our top corner has a shoulder injury now, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Our quarterback has a fucking left thumb injury, right? So, he's got a rookie right tackle fucking blocking for his blind side. He's got almost no runners. Anyway, okay, look. It's a tough fucking matchup. They have to play near fucking perfect. If I'm keeping it real, I just don't think that the Dolphins are going to be able to win this game. I don't think that they match up against the Chiefs. I don't think they're anywhere really near ready to compete with a team like the Chiefs. There is some statistical probability, and of course there are still things that are unknown, like how penalties play a factor and so on and so forth. if I'm keeping it real, though, the way I see this game playing out is I think the Dolphins defense might make some plays early on, right? And I think that they, while they're still fresh anyway, right? And, maybe they get a punt or two out of the Chiefs in the first half. And maybe they do kind of keep it kind of close in the first half, right? Maybe they're only down by like 10 points, a touchdown and a field goal or whatever. But I think ultimately the Chiefs are going to win this pretty handedly. Because I don't think the Dolphins defense is going to be able to do enough against this Kansas City offense. Even as good as they are, with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes and that offensive line, like, I really don't think that the Dolphins defense. Now look, of course I hope that they prove me wrong. I want them to prove me wrong, but they have to prove me wrong, right? And the data suggests that they are not going to be able to stop this Chiefs offense. Now, we'll see, right? And so, like, ultimately, now, if the Chiefs get up, 10, 14 points early on, I think it's pretty much going to be a wrap at that point, because I don't think that the Dolphins offense then subsequently will be able to keep up with that. They're certainly not, right? So, like, if the Dolphins defense is able to make some plays early on, right? But ultimately, they do take like a 14-point lead, two touchdown lead at some point, right? Let's say they get the ball to start, they go down and score a touchdown on their first drive off of their, scripted plays or whatever to begin the game. They go down and get a relatively easy touchdown, go up 7-0, and then the Dolphins offense ends up going 3 and out or having to punt, and then let's say they score again, right? But then let's say the Dolphins do get a couple, or let's say they get a stop, get a punt, and then don't do anything with the ball. Chiefs score again. They force another punt. Okay, well, you did probably make some plays in there, and you did get them to punt a couple times. They did score a couple touchdowns. I just don't think the Dolphins offense is going to be able to match them. I don't, right? So the Dolphins, if they're going to win this game, they have to keep it close. They have to keep it low scoring. They have to make sure that the Chiefs offense stays out of the end zone. Field goals, you can manage that, right? Because generally speaking, field goals don't win you the game if that's all you can score. I'm not talking about like game-winning field goals, right? Like it's been a shootout the entire game and it comes down to the field goal at the end. You know what I'm talking about. Like, field goals are not going to win you the game if that's all you can score. You do have to be able to score touchdowns as well. So if they can keep the Chiefs offense from scoring touchdowns, that will give their offense, the Dolphins offense, somewhat of an opportunity. Now they will have to take advantage of that. They will have to open up running lanes to take some pressure off of Tua, and they will have to God, there's just so much that needs to happen for it to go right. So, and again, he's a rookie quarterback, man, and he's not 100% on the playbook, and he's even banged up at this point. Like, he's got some minor injuries that he's playing through, right? So I just, again, and to wrap this up, I really don't like it. I really don't like it. I didn't like them putting him in at all to begin with. I was a huge proponent for him just redshirting his rookie season, getting used to the NFL, especially in the midst of a year that is so fucked up, and it's impossible to even evaluate any roster or any team because of it. COVID's out of control, fucking all the reschedulings, the injuries are out of control. Like, just to me, none of it makes any goddamn sense. And because what have you seen from him? I mean, I know some people think he's shown superstar status in this point, but I mean, you're just not watching the same game or the same tape or the same fucking stuff. And for people who want to be like, oh, but he's got 6 touchdowns and no interceptions, again, you're not watching it. There were at least 8 would-be interceptions in his games that he's played. He's super lucky. And, you know, it's fair if you want to be like, yeah, but he didn't throw them. Okay, sure. That is the reality. I can't deny that. That would be irrational. But it's improbable to think that this dude is going to just be able to continue to luck out in the ways that he has, because it's not that he's not throwing the interceptions. It's half of them have literally been in the gut of the defender or into the fucking right into the hands of the defender. They just weren't able to squeeze it, or they came back off of fucking penalties or whatever, right? So like, and then the other half of them were just through the hands of a defender. They were just a little too late reacting, right? So, or it was or it ended up being tipped or something like that. So, and you know, if let's say he has a really bad day against the Chiefs. Let's say he threw 3 interceptions and the Dolphins are getting blown out, and then they put Fitzpatrick in, he gets benched again, right? Let's say that was to happen. Well, then he's 6-3. And his luck will have run out. So, you know, you got to think about these things, right? It's not trying to be negative. It's trying to think about the full picture and the various different scenarios. And it's relevant again because like those are would-be interceptions. It's true they didn't happen, but they are would-be. And in other scenarios, they would have been, man. Like, and they will be at some point. Again, no quarterback is going to go his entire career, especially if you expect him to be fucking your franchise dude, and just never throw interceptions. It's going to happen. He's going to have bad games. And, you know, it could happen as soon as this week. So, you know, and if he ends up, if that was a thing, right? If he ends up leaving this game, no touchdowns and 3 interceptions because he had such a bad day, no run game, the offensive line couldn't protect him, you know, he makes rookie mistakes, he's scrambling for his life, blah, blah, blah. And they're just so stubbornly persistent that, oh, well, you know, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many shots he's taken or how bad he performs. We're going to keep him in. I mean, there would have to be a breaking point eventually, and I would think that 3 interceptions is going to do that. So, or 3 turnovers of some sort. So, anyway, whatever. Look, I say these things and I mention these other scenarios again, not because it's trying to be negative. I don't want to be negative. I tell you guys all the time, I hope that they prove me wrong. The reason why I mention these negative scenarios is because there is a substantial probability that they occur, right? And so, you know, I just want to avoid those things. So, frankly, I wouldn't even put Tua in this game. But he's going to be the starter. I think it's going to be a super tough challenge. I mean, even if it was a sloppy game, if they managed to win, I mean, that would be... Even if it was a sloppy game and they were helped out by penalties and so on and so forth, all of that would be relevant. Relevant context for sure. You know, if Tyrann Mathieu is not in there. Relevant context for the result for sure. But if they get a win over the Chiefs, I mean, that's a statement. And that's huge, right? And so, you know, I hope it happens, but I really don't see it being a thing. And I want them to prove me wrong, but it just, the data does not add up to that. And so, you know, I gotta keep it real. And the likelihood is that, you know, they'll lose this game. It could potentially be, you know, in blowout fashion. I'm going to predict, like, I don't know, 35 to fucking 14. I think the Chiefs are going to win it pretty fucking handedly. And, you know, it just, you know, it is what it is, man. I hope they prove me wrong. We'll have to wait and see. But it's going to be a super tough matchup that, you know, I mean, unquestionably, this is going to be their toughest game of the season. It's definitely by far the best team that well, maybe not by far, but it's the best team that they've played. I mean, the Bills are a really good fucking team. And the 49ers are a really good team. We just happened to play them when they weren't the same team because they were decimated by injuries and COVID issues. So anyway, whatever. But yeah, so tough matchup. Really tough matchup. I hope they get the win. But they're likely going to drop to, they're what, 8-4 right now. So they're likely going to drop to 8-5 after this. And, you know, but then they got a really winnable game against the Patriots. And then I think they got, you know, 2 more games after that are, although you never know, that Patriots game, it's still the Patriots. Well, it's not the Patriots because that team looks way different. The defense is way different. You know, Cam Newton's there, not Brady. But it's still the Patriots organization with Bill Belichick. And they are 6-7, so they're like, you know, they just lost their last game pretty bad, actually. But, you know, if they won against the Dolphins, or, well, they have another game. So if they win this week, that would get them back to 500. So they're, you know, whatever. So that's not a guarantee, but it's definitely a winnable game. And then I think that they're likely to lose against the Raiders and the Bills. Both of those are games on the road. So as you guys know, I think that they're going to end up 9-7 from this point. I think ultimately they're going to lose against the Chiefs, the Raiders, the Bills. I think they'll pull out a win against the Patriots. That is a home game for the Dolphins. And I do think that they will make it into the playoffs, and I don't think that they're going to go past the first round. And then I think that, well, we'll get to next season when we get to next season. So, yeah, that's what I got. So I'm going to get up out of here. I hope you guys appreciate my perspectives. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dylan Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.